Now I'm pleased to introduce my co-curator, Martha Kaplan, who is an award-winning poet and flash fiction writer whose book Wind Eyes is due out in 2025 from Mad Hat Press. Take it away, Martha.
Well, thank you, Larissa. I'm going to read a sort of mixed prose poem in lineation that is really inspired because I've been looking back at surrealist poets, French surrealist poets, and their role in the resistance in France. So it inspired this. Drunken boat on the Potomac. In my dreams, I flew with the osprey, heard its cries, watched it dive for prey. I heard the young cheep, cheep for food, the adults whistle and screech, warning danger. I watched from the pier as my loved ones pushed off into the Potomac, their small boat bobbing. I heard the clink of oars, splash of waters, low rumble of a passing motorboat. I sat near the reeds on the shore, heard them rustle as the wind freshened. I gazed into the sky, saw clouds go from cirrus to cumulus, blackening as the hours passed. A keening in the air, lifting me over the river. And there I saw the boat, and there I fell into it, hearing screams from the shore, crowds gathering, the sky a sickening orange. The river wished me green and white tides struck at every peninsula. Flotsam turned round and round in a dizzying vortex of yearning, falling over and over in a rushing tumble. All night I slept blue and dark against the shining ice, a moon laughing, or was it coughing? Its coffin sense gazing through its shrinking tether in the absence of cracked ions, absent of shelter, a face naked in space. Long days of gray longing lay blanketed on the land. Creatures burrowed into inadequate shelter. Food scarce as lost trees, flattening horizons of non-existent shadows against absent cliffs. Granite stones, stolid in grizzled light. This is the way a battered boat swings its way through molten nights and unpredictable days, battling swells of sea foam churning the bow, hunting for harbor in a heartless ocean, rattling with tombstone scree. Thank you very much. So I would like to introduce Dr. Tacy M. Atsiti de Gonzalez. She is Dean is of the is Sleep Rock people and born for Tangle people.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, everyone. So I have 3 sonnets for you today. And this first one is Chokecherry Canyon. It's more than fruit itself, rot, long past the budding, bitter skin. We are taught to spit it out, all rot on the ground, foaming. Men in their haze breathe in black cats and take scars like stomachs of women. A flesh so acidic, so hollowed, bats rarely cave there. Where hands of men brought skulls to rock like choke cherries, leaving parched trails in your mouth. So hard to swallow. Deconge tongue carries a shrivel to the throat and pulls eyelids south. A bluster from the dry neck steeple. Oh, the depravity of my people. Anna Saze. How can we die when we're already prone to leaving the table mid-meal, like ancient ones gone to breathe elsewhere? Salt sits still, but pepper's gone rolled off in a rush. We've practiced dying for a long time. When we skip dance or town, when we chew, we've rounded out like dining room walls in a canyon, eaten through by wind. Sorry we rushed off. The food wasn't ours. Sorry the grease sits white on our plates, and the jam that didn't set. Use it as syrup to cover every theory of us. Still life morrow. Turn off the static, my therapist says. Taste what you swallow. Inside, I feel water burst from the baby bellas. I wish I were staring at a still life, a bowl of cactus fruit, maybe, or rotted watermelon, and not this wintry scene of the road I've just taken. I think they know. About every leaf I'd catch to peel from my tongue. It spoke to how good I was at being alone. This morning I sit in the still kitchen, rued by autumn passing me by. In it rises our breath to the lone mountains as layers of rain gloss us abundantly. Thank you.
Thank you, Tacey. Is Kimberly Blazer here? Kimberly? Okay, come back to that. Paul Nelson. Poet interviewer Paul E. Nelson founded the Cascadia Poetics Lab in 1993, which produces the annual Cascadia Poetry Festival. He has over 9 books of poetry and interviews, is the literary editor for the late poet Sam Hamill, and lives in Rainier Beach alongside a creek. And Paul, you will have to pronounce.
Dok Okweb in the Lachute seat. Thanks, Martha. Thanks, Larissa. Thanks, Jonathan. An honor to be here. I'm going to read a segment from a day song. This is a day-long writing project that I've been doing twice a year now for a few years. And there are references to Ikkyu, a Zen priest from the 15th century, and Wanda Coleman, who I think of a lot these days because she'd have something to say about what's going on. Pick up the day song, Imbo 2025, Dharma Position Day Song, 1139. Fruit sweetened cornflakes with sliced banana, rabbit tax of nub and paid, and maple latte. Dear Wanda, it's 1141 here on Imbo 2025 in Project 2025 America with the obese Codillo settling into his terrorist air raids and the smoot, Hawley-ish tariff setting and various and sundry delusions on this sacred day of froth, no-mouth crow divinations and snow. Just for a moment, Wanda flakes get big and a stanza or two later gone. Reminiscent of an American sonnet, they who could not bring you to where your blood runs, tried to co-opt. Nothing doing. Vapor and more vapor, you'd say, methinks, in this age of Whitey's last stand. Why not hyphenate him to European Americans, they ask on X, which may offer a scrap of serenity. So goes end-stage empire in a rain of falling jets and harried spectacles. We find solace in the coot raft and the return of Indian plum. And what is the heart? Pine breeze voice in a forgotten painting, Ikkyu, crazy cloud, as Crow with no mouth often referred to his unconventional self, his little Zen self, his sake and sweet fuck to wash away disgust with Zen pretenders' self. Here in New Jerusalem, the home of the brave, it said, we're being liquidated by the two-party carousel. Guard joy with a gull's beak, lentils and water and lattes and fruit-sweetened cornflakes and snowflakes festooning rooftop seagulls, the hypnosis of lake waves and the insistence of pu'er tea. Is this all me, same as I ever was? Same as a middle-aged man making a breakaway layup on balky knee, momentary joy in an emerging polycrisis where minds given an opportunity to reunite with tree roots and creek flow, all the self they've ever swirled out? Maybe. Dogen says time never arrives, and yet here it is again. There you go again, lost in language, una dulce sílaba a la vez. between Julia Holzman piano solos from Under the Surface, as far from slaughter as possible, in End Stage Empire, across from the saltwater improvisation and the psilocybin lattes in spitting distance of Cloud's birth, all of this flexible mind, all of which every spark and sparkle Dogen knows as time. For the time being, both mind and words arrive, our highest frothy day song prayer, made with clear intention and red Imbolc candles, with Tibetan snow lion incense and gentle Zen insistence, just this side of the altar, this side of Wokweb Creek, standing on a rock, waiting for the military helicopter rescue coming any minute now to the NPR DJ lost in Sheffel Creek, trying to live up to a Dharma challenge to see from tall peaks, handle with care this time we've been granted to uncover the loveliest shapes of mind. Keep hope alive.
Thank you, Paul. Margaret Roska that is the 2019, I keep thinking because we know Peggy, the 2019 to 2020 Wisconsin Poet Laureate, is the author of 6 books, most recently Restoring Prairie from Cornerstone Press, 2024.
Thank you, Martha. El Salvador, a name the conquistadores imposed as if Christian, as if a name said it all. There is not a single savior anywhere anymore, if ever there was. Now there, in the name of the Savior, they twist, strip meaning, bend backs, shackle, shave heads, imprison, no hope of return. What angels to roll back this stone? Rise as one, be one, good people. And the other poem I'd like to read is a poem for 2 voices. So I asked Wendy Vardaman if she would kindly read this poem with me. Wendy, you ready? Unmute?
Yes.
Okay. Before we leave, a word,
Or 2.
a touch of gold, but the oak still holds,
It's green.
as if this is the margin,
Of summer.
quaking aspen.
Already bare branched.
My heart keeps pounding.
Its rhythm.
I almost have something to say.
A word.
On the tip of my tongue. No, not
Even there.
in the back of my throat, in my,
Churning belly.
for now, these,
Marginal words.
on these margins, I walk ahead,
A child.
stepping gently at the edge of the lake,
The irregular.
border where waves break,
On shore.
before retreating and becoming
Once again.
indistinguishable
Indistinguishable lake.
Celebrate water. Celebrate water's reach.
And retreat.
Celebrate sand. Celebrate soil in all its textures.
Loam, clay,
Mud, silt, all.
the earth.
Some people write,
Themselves large.
some small.
The
The
prairie
is
is
both
both
of
of
people.
those people.
All the earth,
The way
it sends up trees,
and calls.
their leaves back onto itself.
The way
It makes words
catch
in
our throats.
Well done, thank you. Joanie Reese is a writer and poet living in Texas and the founder and curator of Hot Pillow Readings at AWP.
Thank you again for having me, Martha and Larissa and Jonathan. I appreciate being able to be with like-minded people today. I've been writing all this stuff out because it's so unbelievable that you almost need to put it down on paper to make any sense of what's going on. This is a relatively new poem. It doesn't have a name yet. A gloaming gold enfolds the sky where sparrows sail through streaks of sun. A woman in a blue sarong lingers along a dusty quay. Hard men, immune to even song, their eyes unfocused turn away, not upward where day's end delights the few imbued with afterglow. That amber's clouds adrift like kites with contrails drifting down below. Too soon the planets overcome. Waves hover under algae bloom to smother what was once robust, and silver birch explode in reams of fire against a hammered sky. And yet we're told there is a dearth for those who hold with mining gold from oil, lumber, cattle, coal. Progress should not be blocked, but grow. Deceptive stories fool the chumps and set their phallic guns aflame for Jesus, country, money, fame. They cheer a clown in flapping crown, whose words light matches burning down this restive tinderbox we call a home. Too soon the Christians' Bibles rain reality carves against their veins like butcher knives singing through wind. They somehow cannot understand the reason why they cannot sing, and finally don't feel anything. The wedding's off, no body's there to spin the bride atop her chair, but fire ignites to ashen her, consumes a country ill-prepared for facts that lay the liars bare. Boys clutch their knives and flay the air, don pointed masks and gilded chains. Like feral curs, they export blame, and fear is all that's welcome here. We've all entered the liar's lair, where dogs a howl amidst the glare of Klieg lights and the makeup chair. We wake to tongue the lowering pall of smoke that burns the planet raw. We seek the truth like crows who caw and scratch at every shining bit, refusing to believe it's shit and not the riches promised us by faces on the sides of buses. Men who ride the Sunday train, condemning those who stray and strain, those people born from religion, lily-white male politicians. His words conscript our souls for cash, persuade rash followers they're wise to swallow all his clever lies in profit for their afterlives. After a while, the truth winks out, and children learn they can't surmount imperfect education's cost, where thinking bears the stink of pantomime. The jilted earth still swirls for men slick-haired and booted for this age, their rage and act upon a stage as kidnapped anguish, cold and caged. False pledges of a world improved now stare like babes through spit-strung glass that bends light back from true accounts of how the dying planet fares. Alone, some throw off self-loathing with yoga, poetry, or wine. No bundled sage will ease the storm that lingers in this feral time. And men of might murder their own to save their perch atop a throne, erected over bodies, black, white, brown. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joanie. Current Wisconsin Poet Laureate Brenda Cardenas is the author of Trace from Red Hen Press in 2023, Boomerang Bilingual Press 2009, 3 chapbooks, as well as co-editor of 2 anthologies, Resist Much, Obey Little, Inaugural Poems to the Resistance, which was the first Trump event, and Between the Heart and the Land, Latina Poets in the Midwest. Brenda.
Thank you so much, Martha and everybody. So great to be here. 2 poems. Bewitched. Bewitched by abuela's bleat at quarter till midnight, piercing our quarantine. Bewitched by the fur growing on her chin, by the greedy king who measures us according to how silent he can keep our tongues. Bewitched by rats who ate a baby boy in a tenement of the segregated North that has always refused to see itself, bewitched by the pacing tiger whose eyes cut steel bars, whose spirit spits in the face of her captors, bewitched by the wilted words whispering themselves back to life in a flourish of blood spells, bewitched by our wiggle and pop despite the chorus of shame biting our heels, bewitched by the borderlands in our every breath, by the ocular magic in our mal de ojo, bewitched by the mermaid tails beneath our pantalones, their fins always swimming to freedom, bewitched by the pyre that beckons us to story this world, then dance, bewitched by the jinn who have no respect for the rich king and his false dragons, bewitched by the yeast that still rises, no matter who is baking the bread. And this poem is titled Memoir. Once, my footloose friend was riding her bicycle downtown, scarf fluttering like a tiny kite in her wake as she followed a voice she knew was mine, pulsing through a bullhorn all firestorm and quake. Hell hath no fury like a teacher stripped of her health insurance. Once I felt a glass building shake as my 2 palms among hundreds slammed its walls, business busting immigrants into shards to ship in a box. I was a messy crone even in my youth, eyes rolling 360 like a doll's, trying to see everywhere at once. Isn't that what it is to be a citizen? A kitchen door, a camera? Now, smoking guns still smoldering in my head, I bring blankets, water, a young friend shaking her lion's mane into a roar as she glissades into the crowd, a film of all our heroes behind her eyes. This is my legacy, teeth ground down to cracking, a tool hanging from my keyring to cut the razor wire holding us back. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Roberto Harrison is a Panamanian American poet and artist living in Milwaukee since 1991. His latest book is Isthmus to Abayala, published by City Lights in 2023, and he was Milwaukee Poet Laureate for 2017 to 2019.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, everybody. I got one page poem and a couple of short ones. They are more terrified than we are. Yesterday was better, but the science of nature still arrived. Now that nature hides, its semblance follows me without a scent as I ascend my ignorance and move each day to be unanswered from the terror, magnifying non-computability, to see no mountain in the way that life can be misused, along with trees at night. We must become unanswered for every vacancy of humans striving to be lost and found through no one here. My loss is like the others. My death now welcomes me beyond disaster, as I will not become the only one whose image ends. They all feel terror too, because their power will erase their spirits as nature's mountains rise inside of us. As our fear now disappears, our travel must be one with night and dawn inside. I welcome this togetherness and silence. I articulate the other worlds, remaining as a source of our becoming through the morning. Without our tenderness, we do not hear. We are siloed for encapsulations as we now belong inside the earth as well. No false hope for them can stop us as we become again to be the earth and to endure beyond the screens. Towards Simone Weil. Give me no power to be the thing. Mercy makes my moon at night. Justice brings me mourning to be true. I am here after long affliction. To belong is all affliction. I am the wandering of origins, and I am still at night as in the morning. Darkness. Reason beyond ratio. Throw away your disposable mind. I now replace it with a womb that pushes out tomorrow. Do not ever compute me again, because the sun knows to the earth in countless other ways. Shadow puppet, call me when you find the answer to disaster. Leave a message for the ferns that I am now. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. Andy Greisevich is a poet, musician, forager, and food maker who has helped bring reading series, chapbooks, and little magazines into existence in Madison over the past 2 decades. Andy, are you here?
I am here. I don't know if I'm visible.
Nope.
Do I have to do? Nope. Do I have to turn the camera on or something? Can our technical director do that from his station?
Let me see here.
I don't have to be seen.
But we would love to see
Oh,
you.
there we go. Yep. Thank you. This is from a book-length manuscript called Disfigured Files, which actually mentions Trump a number of times in it, though not in this section, even though it's from 15 years ago or so. We swamp through film floor to return, carpentering even stranger, the mindless degree and quick little of a lowercase florid all night into and through history and Oklahoma. The obvious intention just waking observer. In our object, the witness saying, setting slowly in a snare, then still red and bright fact, the mindless degree armed code enforces. The cop-trained terrain only from Tulsa to Texas we felt, the inexplicable violence to reach light, to well up, paying a beautiful drive, work to consequence of total oil war, notice of endless horse shit a fellow got to eat it 6 of, then peaches of, or off, we're off. We felt trained in flickering phosphor dots, thinking the blanket question, playing in bracket songs, share our survival. Alien energies staffing energy waste, if he and dies everywhere, share our survival. Floor that trailer. We dragged it up the mountains, lost the freedom to fail. The feeling residue in the still, it was getting liked, a liked anger, liked the fact, all shapes of the stone usually composed of maps, even stronger illusory rooms trying to sail. The ill county, the lumen still white and frank et al. Loved evolving instantly into meme cancer, black and steam to swallow the silence of the silent behind us are both presents, the PLO of budget boxes, files of holders slowly coalescing, watched assignment wane up the witnessed trace, then went to an ant that is a cross of double dealers. That space must get thus chairs to fall. To note toilet says they just build it high down the Willow Santa. Then may come out to the trace, build him another wheat shaft. Incredible vegetarian fluid, bubble-like to horror like gophers known as deal eagles, will claim the paperless traveler. See blanket question. Gift of a windfall we spent throughout traffic was waking up in order to present a robbery in the city, needed with beef. But in the period we stared at the blue gibbons, code enforcers share our survival. Some diets, garbage comes out like stained glass jewels. 2 traits to the traced trick scares. This happens despite the clear language of the low-laid Lawful Let Act of 1913. May not be feared with or deny the Open the Sewer Act, settled, to be cancelled, to be gentle in everything outside the law. Fear put all outposts in place between us. This should get underground tubes into hard, centralized shit. Keep steel home, shells crossing saints, past the largest increase, biggest cross in the centralized saint. To be gentle, when only 8 a.m. keeps you there, to fail, share our survival. You don't have to tell me that, or anything really. Allow Levine your hard to cross over the empty space, fact everywhere must he must. Allow the fine of your heart to cross over the empty space that everywhere must be owners. Allow the vying ability or hard to cross over the GE space fact everywhere must be over his. All of the vying to your heart to cross over the empty space event, everywhere must be dealers. Allow the fine above your heart to cross over the key space that everywhere must rewards. Fights to read itself in the dust.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you so much, and thank you all so much.
Ron Serwine is the author of 2 chapbooks. He sells used and out-of-print books on the internet under the name Aval's Books, LLC. Ron.
Thank you, Martha. This poem is entitled Geography Lesson, and I don't know if you can see it, but there are words in bold in the poem, and those are all the names of places. Geography lesson. There are 0 places in the world named compassion. There are 4 places named hell. Too many, too few. There are 0 places in the world named empathy. 2 places named hate. And though there are 43 paradise and 18 Jesus, there is no heaven. There are 0 places in the world named racist, but 5 named BIGOT. All of them pronounced bigot, so they don't count. To some, it will come as no surprise there's 1 straight in Oklahoma. Around the world, there are 26 gay. Indiana and Ohio have 1 patriot. Of the 20 places in the world named freedom, the US claims 17. Can you believe there is no deception? With 3 each, it's a tie between happy and sad. Fortunately, there's no boredom. And though friendly numbers 2 more than you, that's no reason to give up, lonesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Wendy Vardaman, former poet laureate of Madison, stares out windows and makes stuff in her day job as a web digital media specialist, as a volunteer designer, and in her creative practice.
Thank you, Martha. And thanks for having me. And it's so lovely to see all of you. I'm going to read 1 poem that I wrote this past summer on retreat up in Door County, right on Door County. And it's in response to a wonderful installation by an artist named Rebecca Carlton, who also paired this installation with a conversational series in order to invite as many people in as she could, which is kind of the theme of the installation as well. How to hang an installation. After Are We Listening? Make it a circle of word, bird, loss. Make it multiple, flock, flight, fold. Make space for shadow, more shadow than circle. Make it small enough to hold in hand. Make it big enough to circle the world. Circle the world, center the missing. Listen to silence and lost language and no language and the language of gesture. Make it a conversation. Ask for names. Make it a hanging cage without a bottom. Its bent bars covered with scraps of torn mesh above a pair of rusted typewriters on rock, their keys locked. Make it a chicken coop. Collage the door with metal bits and coffee pot. Make it a gallery in the woods, a gathering of weathered bears and bird houses built from salvaged barns, a garden of clay and craft, of Buddhas and deer. Make it a stand of ash for Vireo to hide among, singing and singing to a long abandoned car, still falling apart. Make places to rest. Make it a hanging cup nest to lay a clutch of 10 in March. Make it roofed and insulated with 1,000 feathers. Make the walls from moss and spider silk and lichen flake. Design it to fail. If someone wants takeaways, the big picture, ask which one, ask whose. The big picture. I could sit here all day. It's going to get very hot. It was the robin, its roundness on a roof ridge, and the shape of the negative, a shrug opening to sky, a single line, small presence leaning against absence that drew me. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Ronnie Hess is a poet and essayist, the author of 7 poetry collections and 2 culinary travel guides. She is a past board member of several literary organizations in Wisconsin, including the Poet Laureate Commission, the Friends of Lorine Niedecker, and the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you for organizing this and for inviting me and others. So I'm going to read one poem. It's called The Inaugural Address, January the 20th, 2025, U.S. Capitol, Washington, D.C. It's an erasure poem. We must be honest, provide sanctuary and protection, love, democracy, integrity, competency, dignity, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural. We will not forget our Constitution, fair, equal, and impartial justice under the rule of law. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. We will measure our success not by the battles we win, but by the wars we end. My proudest legacy will be that of peacemaker and unifier. Americans are builders, innovators. They defeated fascism. We are one people. I am with you, full of compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. Milwaukee poet Stephen Anderson is the author of 3 chapbooks and 4 book-length collections, In the Garden of Angels and Demons, The Dream Angel Plays the Cello, High Wire. His 4th collection, On the Third Planet from the Sun, 2024, was nominated for an Eric Hoffer Book Award by Kelsey Books. Stephen?
Thank you, Martha, and hello, everyone. It's great to be here today, reading with all of you. I have 3 short poems I want to read. The first is called Bloom. An older woman walks her dog down a bombed-out street in Kharkiv. It's spring, and she sidesteps cratered sidewalks with emerging purple crocuses that magically seem to smile their brightness. She stops, gathers her breath, and listens to their quiet hallelujah song, and bends to touch them as they sing to her of hope and a smattering of beauty, despite it all. But I guess this poem is kind of my homage to Lorca. It's called Under the Olive Tree. What is your legacy, Federico Garcia Lorca? Some say a stone marker under an olive tree outside Granada. Your remains have eluded everyone, and your death is but a mystery. Was your assassin a vicious 20-something minion of Franco with unquenchable bloodlust in his eye when he pulled the trigger that sent your duende fleeing into the blue heavens toward the sun? maybe into the hearts and minds of other poets and playwrights attuned to fighting fascism and injustice? Did your bell toll a knell a las 5 de la tarde, like that of your iconic bullfighter, Ignacio Sanchez Mejias? Followers hope that your spirit did not die with your body, that it flew like a bird and lodged deep within humanity, much like a prolific rose of Sharon tree sheds its seedlings to the earth to ensure its propagation, like the sound of a gypsy violin infiltrating the soul of the listener, like the songs of Billy who sang the blues that never, ever leave us.
Thank you, Stephen.
I have,
We have one more, I'm sorry.
yeah, is that okay?
Oh, no, of
All right.
course. Go ahead.
This is called The Privileged Secrets of the Arch. Of all of those in the park, only the rosy-cheeked, disheveled woman saw the poltergeists weave under and around the monumental park arch. So much so that she dropped her plastic bag filled with everything she owned and cherished, thereby setting her hands free to applaud them as they set about in their anarchistic abandon, magically whirling debris with whistling sounds, creating traces of colored lines that were utterly magnificent for this lone observer to behold. What a shame, she thought, that she must relish in this free performance art alone, and how blessed she considered herself that only she could enjoy such a gift in her very own dusty, litter-strewn amusement park, while others there could content themselves with just simply staring at her. Thank you.
And thank you, Stephen. So sorry for interrupting you.
No trouble.
So Kimberly Blazer was having some connections problems, but she is here with us. I'm so pleased to introduce her. Kimberly Blazer is founding director of Indigenous Nations Poets, an Anishinaabe activist, past Wisconsin Poet Laureate, an MFA faculty member at Institute of American Indian Arts, professor emerita at UW-Milwaukee, and the author of 6 poetry collections, most recently, Ancient Light. Kimberly.
Miigwech, Martha, and thank you all. It's great to be with you. Sorry for my technical difficulties. I have a little voice difficulty too, but I think I'll do fine. So I have 2 poems. The first was written during Trump's first administration. A friend of mine edited an issue entitled Dignity as an Endangered Species. And I thought of the Indigenous man who was on the mall in Washington drumming when he was confronted by MAGA wearing youth. And remember what he did? He did nothing. He just kept drumming. And so for me, that was an incredible sign of dignity. On the dignity of gestures for Nathan Phillips. 1, remember hands ungloved and notched by life. Watch them pour stovetop coffee into tin cups, lift cross poles onto fence butts, mend nets, rock your children. 2, pay homage and speak the names of sweepers and shovelers, panners, cafeteria cooks, baby doctors, and deathbed watchers. Esme, Dale, Margaret, David, Mike, and Colleen. 3, receive all gifts, crocheted Afghan or prize money, with humility. Gratitude spreads easy as butter. Unworthiness endures. 4, watch the eyes of turtle. Admire the neck courting of swan. Study wing beats and tail rhythms. Note how otter sows stoop to lift pups. Listen to wind in fall, to trees bending and unbroken. Announce like spring frogs the unfolding of each holy year. Carry candles into cathedrals, poetry into prisons. 5, do not become beasts in the fray. Remember the indigenous hands that drummed on the man who stood calm. And my second poem, as I thought about what do we need and what do we need for resilience? And my answer is we need one another. We need community to hold on to. About standing in kinship. We all have the same little bones in our foot, 26 with funny names like navicular. Together, they build something strong. Our foot arch, a pyramid holding us up. These bones don't get casts when they break. We tape them, one phalange to its neighbor for support. Other things, like sorrow, work that way too. Find healing in the leaning, in the closeness. Our feet have 1/4 of all the bones in our body. Maybe we should give more honor to feet and to all the tiny but blessed cogs in the world, communities, the forgotten architecture of friendship. Miigwech.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly. Christine. Christine, I'm looking for this. Christine missed the earlier thing. Christina Alessi is a writer and musician from New Jersey. So go ahead, Christine. You're muted.
Christine, I'm hitting ask to unmute.
But I'm sorry. Can you see me? Okay. I'm just gonna pull up my poem. I'm gonna read one poem that I wrote recently. And I think it's kind of germane to the situation that's going on in the country right now. So here I go. Freedom. Freedom is an abstract noun, an intangible, a serious word with a sense of humor. Freedom is alive, fluid. Freedom is deeply responsible, but costly and accrues interest. Freedom is not free. It is the price of sentience, the gift of our betters to steward carefully with reverence for all. Freedom has rules. Freedom is responsibility and agency. Freedom is accountability for our decisions. Freedom is ethical and moral. Freedom is living with purpose. Freedom is acceptance. Freedom is choice. Freedom is relief from anxiety. Freedom is equality. Freedom is worth it. I love the smell of freedom in the morning. Bread and circuses will not stifle the urge for freedom. Freedom isn't a word to be taken lightly or bandied about willy-nilly. Freedom isn't a country club you pay dues to get into. Freedom will not be defeated by mean tweets or incompetent bullies. Freedom is ineffable. Freedom is an inalienable right. Shout it out to the heavens, demand it. Freedom is truth. An old Jewish hippie said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Don't be afraid. We have nothing to fear. Ask not what you can do, just do it. Freedom is not free.
Thank you, Christine. Audrey Roth was due to come in around 2 o'clock Central Time. That's where we are. But we're ending in this. He was in my cohort, but we're ending early. So Larissa, you want to bring him in when he does arrive? And I will say thank you and introduce our next cohort. Sorry, my papers.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Martha.